Hello, Buckeye fans. We are here, Dave Biddle and I, Patrick Murphy from 24/7 Sports and Bucknuts at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. We just finished speaking with head coach Ryan Day after the Washington game, ahead of the Minnesota game. Dave, Ryan Day talks glowingly about the defense for most of the press conference. Then I think it was like the second to last question towards the end of the press conference, which you'll be able to watch on our YouTube page and on the site here shortly. Steve's getting those up. He's asked, are you okay? Has your mindset changed so you're okay more winning with defense, which is kind of what the team's done the last 2 years? And he goes, no. He's like, you should hear us on the headset. He's like, every drive I would like to end with a touchdown. Like, as much as it has seemed to have shifted and the defense has played better and better these last 2 years, Ryan Day is still frustrated because the offense isn't clicking like it was at one point in time when the Buckeyes weren't winning national championships.
Yeah, and I like that attitude because it'd be easier for him to say, yeah, I mean, with this defense, we can just go out there and just, not even have a good performance offensively and still win 24-6. Now, I thought overall that obviously there was issues in the red zone early, getting stopped at 4th and 1, but then they only had 6 possessions the entire game. The defense was in control, so I did not think the offense played bad. Did they play much, much better, starting with the last drive of the first half? Yes, of course they did. Prior to that, they had not scored. But I thought overall the offense did a solid job. But, yeah, this defense is just – I mean, if it's not the best in the country, I'd love to see who is. It's crazy that they had the best defense in the country last year by any metric you want to use. You lose 8 starters off that defense. All of them are draft picks. You lose your D coordinator. And dare I say – they're better defensively. It's just, it almost sounds crazy to say, but they just look better. They still have to prove it. But 3 or 4 games, they look like a better defense. I also like to, Coach Day, I asked him a question about, I don't think I've ever seen this, a team going to a hostile environment, college or pro. I don't remember watching a game where the road team in a hostile environment went through the entire game and didn't have to call a timeout. Ohio State didn't call any timeouts against the Huskies. And I asked him about that. He talked about that and gave it, praised Julian and his assistant coaches, but then he went right to. I didn't ask him anything about the red zone woes. He went right to, we got to be better in the red zone. We had too many penalties. We got to hit that 4th and 1. So he went right into even when you asked him a question about, hey, you guys did a good job with that. He wasn't doing it like in a jerk way. He was just like, I think if you're a Buckeye fan, you should like the way he is answering those questions because it just goes to show. He knows that they're the defending national champions. He knows they're number 1 in the nation right now, but he also knows they've got to get much better if they want to get to where they want to be.
Yeah, I think, look, can they hang their hat on defense right now? Yes. But they would like to be a team that has an elite defense and an elite offense. Like, you'd like to combine the C.J. Stroud teams with the defense the last 2 years, right? And especially this season. And it's still a work in progress. You got a first-year starting quarterback. You've got a different offensive line than the year ago. But let's stay on the defensive side. We'll come back to the offensive side. You just posted a story that went up while we were in there. Caden Curry, Caden McDonald both received national awards after the performance. Ryan Day was talking about Arvell Reese and the way he tracked down Damon Williams Jr. I keep saying, I don't think Damon Williams Jr. has ever run into a linebacker with that much athletic ability. He wasn't a full-time starter last year. He did play. He did start at the end of the season. But I don't think he was seeing a guy like Arvell Reese. And when he takes off on that run that Ryan Day's talking about towards Washington's end zone, takes off to his left, I think it looks like he thinks, I got this. And then Arvell Reese just comes out of nowhere. You've got that. You've got Ryan Day talked about Sonny Styles and his leadership on the field, the versatility of Caleb Downs, his leadership. I mean, it's just such an elite group. Davis and Igbinosun got talked about a decent amount today. The lack of penalties, things like that. It's really come together. And then you add Matt Patricia into it, working with this coaching staff so well.
And there's such a great tackling defense, open field tackling, in the box. They're not missing many tackles. And if they do miss one, you have somebody, you got one of your teammates there to clean up the mess for you. But I'm not even seeing that much. Igbinosun's a great example of a guy that's just, he's always been a good tackler. He's been like a tough guy, especially for a lot of times those tall, rangy corners aren't exactly like great in run support. IGB is a really good tackler. Now he's cut down on the penalties. He's having a really good year. You mentioned, Caleb Downs is just the way they use him all over, and the way Patricia mixes things up before the snap. And then, again, they have to prove it, but this linebacking tandem might be the best we've seen since maybe since Hawk and Bobby and you got to throw Schlegel in there too. So you have those 3, but maybe throw Peyton Pierce in there too. This might be the best one. this might be even better. I mean, AJ was the number 5 overall pick in the draft, and Bobby was a first rounder, and Schlegel was a 3rd round pick. So that's right now. If you go by the NFL draft, that's got to be the gold standard, right? But geez, I think both Sonny and Arvell are going to be 1st round picks, and I think later in his career, he obviously isn't draft eligible this year and wouldn't go pro anyway. I think Peyton Pierce can definitely be a 3rd round pick. So I think when we look back on it, even judged on what they did at Ohio State and what they did as far as where they went in the NFL draft, I think we're going to look at this 2025 group as the best linebackers that have come through here in a long time, and that's saying a lot because they were really good at linebacker last year. Cody Simon had a great year. No one would say that Cody Simon's better than what we're seeing at Arvell Reese this year. And Cody Simon was great last year. Yeah. Sonny Styles was really good last year. Senior year Sonny Styles is better than junior year Sonny Styles. I think Sonny would tell you that, right? So I just love what we're seeing. And then again, Peyton Pierce is a guy it will be a stud here. The only reason he's not playing a ton is because of those 2 beasts that he has ahead of him.
You almost wish Arvell would slow down a little bit so you get him for 2 years because if you keep playing this way, it's going to be one and done, at least as a starter.
That's what I say about Caden McDonald. Yeah. Although that was more on my radar coming into the year. I'm like, because he was so good last year, like in short yardage. Yeah, I'm thinking I had high expectations for K-Mac, but I didn't think he'd be, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I didn't think he'd be this good. Like, it's just crazy. He would be the reigning defensive player of the week in the Big Ten, if not for his buddy Caden Curry. And you're right, they shared the Bednarik Award.
Yeah.
Then that's the National Player of the Week award for then also Curry got Nagurski, and he got something else too, Maxwell Club. Yeah. So wow. I mean, Caden Curry racking up the personal accolades as he should, and also Caden McDonald.
We talked about it a little after the game on what we learned live with the discussion on Caden Curry, and should maybe they have played him a little bit more in that rotation. Kenyatta Jackson, watching the game back, I thought he played really well. He only ends up with 1 tackle and 1 sack, I think, or 1 tackle for a loss. I don't remember exactly, but the way he helped contain, he's playing with this knee brace on, and dealing with that. Obviously, he was knocked out of one of the games earlier this season, but I think he's playing really well, as expected. Caden Curry. We're not talking about Bo Atkinson because he hasn't made really like a splash play yet, but when he's out there, he's playing well.
Played great against Ohio University.
Yeah, and we'll see as Logan George getting back from that injury comes on more. CJ Hicks, I think when he's been used has been the right times and things like that. And you talk about the interior of the defensive line. Coach Day was asked this week and last week about Edric Houston because Tywone Malone has started the last 2 games. He talked last week about needing more consistency. Then was asked today about kind of getting through that when you sort of have these expectations coming into the year. Now it's not going the way you want. And he's talked about how you needed to have not only, when you get on the field, no one cares. But when you get off the field, you need faith, family, and friends. He says that a lot. But this defensive line in general, I think it's really come together. Like Tywone Malone, I think, has stepped up. Caden McDonald, obviously, it's become a really solid group.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, I still don't love the depth at D tackle. I love Caden McDonald. I think he's probably, not that I've seen every D tackle in the country. If there's a better 1 tech out there, I'd be shocked. I think he's the best 1 tech in the country. Caden Curry is playing at an all-American level. I know it's like we're talking about 4 games, but he is 2nd in the country in sacks with 5. And the guy that ahead of him plays for Utah, and they played an extra game. They played 5 games. Ohio State's only played 4. So I agree. I think Kenyatta Jackson's playing like at an all Big Ten level. He looks good. It's nothing against him. Bo Atkinson was a really good get in the portal. It's just Caden Curry is just, in my opinion, definitely the best defensive end on this team. I'm not just saying that because of what we saw in Seattle, but that definitely put a big exclamation mark on it for me. But and it's interesting, man, because as you know, Patrick, like coming into the year, I'm guilty of this too. We talked up Kenyatta Jackson a lot. Said Bo Atkinson was a great get in the portal. I feel like we didn't talk nearly enough about Caden Curry.
I agree.
And good for him. As Coach Day said today, just now, those guys persevering. That's awesome in any era of college football. The fact that that's happening now, when they could leave at any time, not only maybe chase more money. I don't know what they're making here, but definitely chase more playing time earlier in their career. No, they waited their turn, and now they're reaping the benefits. So I'm really happy for those guys that kind of wait their turn. But you're right. This defensive line overall is excellent, and I think they still need Edric Houston to step up. I'm still convinced he is the best 3 tech on this team, but he's got to clean up the penalties, and he's got to clean up the consistency, like you said.
Yeah, I think it's also interesting that they have gone with more different looks, different fronts, which at least sort of behind the scenes seemed to be a topic last year of Larry Johnson wants to play 4 down. Maybe Jim Knowles wants to do some different things. We saw a little bit of it after the Oregon loss, but it just seemed to be a point of contention. Now, I don't know if it's Ryan Day saying, hey, we're doing whatever Matt Patricia wants to do, if it's Larry Johnson relenting a little bit more on that, if it's a combination of the two. Whatever it is, it's working though, and I think that's the most important thing. Is Ryan Day talks about this a lot. Like when you're in the meeting rooms, you can disagree, you can have arguments, but as long as you walk out, he always says arm in arm. You walk out with the same idea.
Yeah.
The messaging to the players is the same. That's all that matters. Whoever comes up with the idea, whoever walks out of that room maybe feeling like you just have to be in agreement on this is what we need to do this week or in this situation, and it certainly seems, at least so far, that they are with this defensive line.
No doubt about it. We're not hearing the rumblings that we heard last year, the rumors that the defensive staff was on the same page. I'm hearing the exact opposite. I'm hearing that everybody loves Patricia. You can see the way the players react to him. I've had parents tell me, parents of defensive players. We had Dee Sanchez on. She wasn't a guest on the show, but she was in the chat on our Bucknuts Morning 5 yesterday. We were talking about this very subject, and she put in the chat, she's like, the way Matt Patricia treats the players is the thing I like most about him. And she's basically, I love everything about him. That's the thing that she likes most, is the way he treats the players. So really, really cool. I mean, and yeah, Pat, I mean, as you said, that I think disagreements between coaches behind closed doors are healthy. You're brainstorming, you're like, let's make sure we have the best plan. Oh, you think we should do this? I think we should do this. Okay, let's come in. Then as we leave the room, we have to be on the same page. We can't be, last year, sometimes it didn't seem like they were even reading from the same book, maybe, because you'd hear Noel say things about wanting to do maybe more odd fronts, but then they wouldn't do it. And yeah, I mean, to answer I think it's an interesting topic. I'm convinced this was Ryan Day saying, we're not going to go through what we went through last year, presuming that the rumors were true. That Larry and Jim were not on the same page. I think Ryan Day said Matt Patricia is running this defense, period. What he says goes. But I also think Patricia, from everything I'm hearing, is doing a great job of not coming in like we're my way or the highway. He's trying to make everybody involved, and he talks up Larry Johnson at every turn. But I couldn't be happier with. And it's funny, man, looking back at some of the reactions, even locally here in Columbus, some of the reactions of media when Matt Patricia was hired, people focusing on his tenure with the Lions. Well, I mean, don't be hard on yourself, but I didn't mean you, but I heard people being over the top. I don't think you were over the top about it at all. No. I don't remember you being that critical, but I heard there were some people, I'm not going to name names, that were overly critical, just writing it off as a terrible hire. You can't find those people now.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was critical. I just had questions.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think
that's critical thinking is good.
Yeah. Let's flip to the offensive side of the ball, and the red zone. You touched on it a little bit earlier. They were better, I think. You mentioned that fourth down play. I know there was a lot. I know you posted about it. The Nate Roberts not getting the block, but CJ Donaldson even said after the game, I've got to lower my pads and get that.
Yes.
Yes, there's a linebacker coming at you full speed, but you were brought in here to be the tough yards guy. He's mentioned this a couple times now about, just needing to be better in those situations. I don't know if it's that he's lost the weight, so maybe he's having to hit those guys differently. But certainly, yes. Could Nate Roberts have, I think he may have tripped. I watched it a few times. I couldn't really tell what happened. But anyway, he doesn't get his block. And that, if he gets his block, CJ walks into the end zone. And we're not talking about this. But I still think on 4th and 1 or shorter, you're a guy who should be able to at least get that yard.
You can't get knocked back, right?
Right.
I mean, I know it's easier said than done. A linebacker running at you, but you're supposed to be the bruising running back at 232 pounds. You've got to find a way to fall forward there. We see with Bo Jackson. I know he's not the biggest back, but he's not a scat back. He's 217 pounds as a true freshman. What do we see from him? All the time he's falling forward after contact. CJ Donaldson, a lot of times, is getting knocked backwards after contact, including that play. So, yeah, I mean, there's no question in my mind who the best running back on this team is, that being Bo Jackson. But I think if you're a Buckeye fan, you should be thrilled that they have the depth they do with C.J. Donaldson and James People. Those guys are going to be needed. But I think we've seen the last game of Bo Jackson coming off the bench ever at Ohio State. I think he will be either the starting running back, or if for some reason he's not the starting running back, that means he's probably hurt or something like that, because he's not going to be coming off the bench any longer, in my opinion.
Yeah, I could see them doing what they did on Saturday throughout the year, and C.J. Donaldson starts, but Bo Jackson is in. He was in on the first drive. I mean, he lined up as a slot receiver basically, but then took the carry while C.J. Donaldson was also in the game. So, just respect for, because it's not like C.J. Donaldson has played poorly. I mean, he has those the red zone issues so far, but he also scored a couple touchdowns in those. He caught a touchdown. And, early they were getting in some outside runs, which I've advocated for more, and that was working.
That was working. But you do wonder if Bo Jackson was in there, how
that's true.
Would they have been like even more of a chunk plays? Because to me, he's clearly better. He breaks tackles at a much higher rate than Donaldson. He falls forward after contact, like I said. He's a big play waiting to happen, Bo Jackson is, but he also can get the tough yards. So, yeah, I just think your starters need to be starters for a reason.
Yeah, well, and it's almost one of those where, like, because Bo Jackson had more snaps the last 2 weeks than any other running back. Yeah. So, like, it's almost like, your sixth man in basketball where you're not starting the game. Are you closing the game? Are you in when it matters? That type of thing.
Right. I get that.
So we'll see how that plays out. And there may be game, like last year, Quinchon started most of the games, but not all of them. And, they both played about the same amount. So we'll see how it plays out. I am interested because James Peoples also still got in, some in the first half, but a decent amount in the second half. I know they're really high on him.
Yeah.
Like, it hasn't looked the way that they thought it would. So something's got to happen there. And I asked Ryan Day about that three-man, how he feels about it. And he pointed out that both Bo Jackson and James Peoples are sort of doing this for the first time. Like, there's still a lot of firsts for them. The difference is you're seeing Bo Jackson produce. We just haven't seen it from one reason or another for James Peoples. The other thing I wanted to touch on is, and we sort of led with this, but we shifted to defense, but Ryan Day's insistence that this offense has to be better. I think that's a great thing. It would be I think it would be unfortunate if he were content with, hey, because we have this good of a defense, we don't need Julian to continue improving or whatnot, because this offense has too much talent, especially in that first quarter. And I understand it was limited possessions and the fumble meant you didn't get the second drive, but you had two freshman corners out there for Washington. You have two, maybe three of the best receivers in the country. You've got these tight ends. Like, they need to get this pass game going against a real opponent. We saw it against Grambling State. We saw it against OU. You need to see it, and you did start to see it in the second half, really, that last drive and then the second half. But Julian Saint doesn't need to be second year to CJ Stroud in his first year as a starter, but I do think they need to utilize their weapons, and it helped open up the run game in the second half too.
And I think they will. I think they feel like, and Ryan Day even admitted after the Texas game, he's like, yeah, we probably went a little too conservative there, but our defense was playing so well. And even in that game, Julian was 13 of 20, but that was with 4 drops. We've been 17 of 20, and that means some of those drives would have kept going. Who knows what his numbers would have been. And the way he's been throwing the deep ball, the percentages look good. They're just not taking a lot of shots. My guess is, we'll find out when the dust settles after the season, is they just don't feel like they need to yet. That's obviously in the playbook. We know Ryan Day has many deep shots in his playbook. So I think that they will get that figured out. I love the way this offensive line's playing. That something wasn't really brought up today. But you look at Saraveld. I saw a stat today that blows my mind.
Yep.
Not only has he not given up a sack through the first 4 games, he's not given up one pressure at all. Never played left tackle before in his life. He has not given up a pressure at all through 4 games. Okay, and he wasn't even the offensive lineman of the week. He easily could have been. That was Luke Montgomery out there pancaking people.
And Hinsman's.
They both were.
Yeah.
Hinsman and Montgomery. Okay, there you go. I mean, all 3 of those guys are playing great. They talk about Phillip Daniels a little bit. Day loves it. He's a tough guy. He says he goes right up to the line of being, maybe crossing the line. But he said, listen, man.
Can't get those penalties.
I love that out of my right tackle. I just want that right tackle just to be a big junkyard dog that's going to be the first one to fight if there's a fight. You don't want to fight, but just in case, you want that mindset out of your right tackle. He's just going to go in there and he's going to be just a brawler. And then you got the 2 guys fighting it out at right guard. And I think that's healthy between Tegra and Onionwa. Made the best man win there. So I love what we're seeing out of this offensive line. And to your point, Pat, I love Ryan Day's attitude here. So it would be very easy to say, yeah, we got the best defense in the country.
We'll win with defense.
We're winning the surest way, and we know our offense is going to be fine. But he's like, no, we've got to get way better on offense. You can tell as soon as he's asked about it, the blood pressure rises in Coach Day.
Yeah, this will not become trestle ball if it's up to Ryan Day. No. All right, we're going to get out of here. Dave needs to go home and watch the Reds.
Well, no, the Reds are tonight. I'm just going to right. 1 o'clock is the other Ohio team. I'm in solidarity with my fellow Ohioans in baseball. Now, if it's a Reds Guardians World Series, that'd be great, wouldn't it? 71 series that we've always been waiting for. But go Guardians, and of course, go Reds.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. As I mentioned earlier, the Ryan Day press conference should be up on our YouTube page. We'll have the whole thing and a transcript on the site here in a little bit. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, buddy.